because Trump's orientation is about achieving this capitulation deal, he's really focused on taking away Iran's leverage. And so that's why he's so obsessed with opening the strait. If the strait is forced open, then Iran can't control it. Iran doesn't have the leverage they need in order to extract more concessions from the Americans. So the Trump vision, the American vision of how this war ought to go is like, let's get this big coalition of all of the impacted parties here. Like, we're going to get NATO, we're going to get China, and we're just going to go force the strait open. And we're going to use as much military power as we can to take away Iran's economic leverage. But so you can see then how those are different, right? Because from the United States perspective, if Iran's leverage is the price of oil, then you don't really want to be hitting the oil facilities. You don't really want to be hitting oil infrastructure, because that is obviously going to cause Iran to retaliate in kind. And so that's why they didn't hit the oil infrastructure on Kharg Island. That's why they have issued that initial warning to Israel not to do this. But the thing is that the cavalry isn't coming. NATO is not like, okay, we're going to all go do this together. NATO, reasonably... Go ahead.
I need to stop it right there. Okay. Look, most of the NATO countries said that they were not on board with this. All right. Most of our allies, China also said no, Australia said no, Canada said no, Germany said no, France said no. A lot of places said no. But we have two powerhouses in our corner. All right. Estonia.
Okay.
And the UAE, who are definitely going to be trotting out their navy in order to deal with this.
When I think of NATO, when I think of the strength of NATO, those are the two countries that I think of.
The two guarantors of American power and influence are the mighty navies of both of these nations that we have definitely seen out in the open. Yeah, they really do not want to be a part of this. They wanted to cheer it on when it looked like it may be over in a couple of days. Maklut went on Fox and was totally on board with this shit. But as soon as it looked like, this is going to be a fucking nightmare, like everyone else predicted, but liberal European leaders were not interested in that, then they want no part of this. They are not interested in being meat shields. That responsibility falls on the Gulf states. That's their fucking problem. Something that I think is very illustrative of this is when Operation Prosperity Guardian happened. They weren't bringing out Gulf War big guns to this, like endless nations in that coalition, but they were able to get Britain. They were able to get the Seychelles. they were able to get a lot of different nations with actual navies, I should say. And when it went for round two with Trump, when it became obvious that the Houthis were not going to back down, when Ansarullah proved that it could affect a blockade even as what is effectively a non-state actor, then only the UK came for the ride. And even then, they didn't bring the Navy. It was just the UK Air Force. And here, in this fucking nightmare, the expectation is that more nations are going to do this against a state that has much more firepower than Yemen ever had. No, what the fuck was the plan? Like, I just saw two things today that are still like, I can't believe they're still in this mindset. Caitlin, I keep forgetting this fucking woman's name every single day. I'm sorry. Carolyn Levitt, the White House press secretary, was on Fox this morning and said regarding American energy needs, quote, "We don't need the Strait of Hormuz for our energy here at home for the American people," unquote. Obvious fucking lie, but I guess someone will believe it. And J.D. Vance, who has been unusually quiet, considering everything, Dick Cheney would have never been this quiet, and is clearly angling towards some sort of leaked narrative of, I was against the Iran war, but I was against it because I wanted it done right. That's sort of narrow guide. He's doing a speech today in some bumfuck town. Quote, "This is a temporary blip. Under the Biden administration, gas prices were high for 4 years. Gas prices are higher right now, and frankly, they're not even as high as they were in certain parts of the Biden administration."
Keep talking, bro. Keep talking.
In 2 sentences, he can't fucking keep it together.